So we 29 times our money with one singular purchase.
Yes guys, how's it going? Kenny Finds and Flips here again today. I hope you're all keeping well. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a part-time reseller. So I buy things from places like car boot sales, Vinted, eBay, online auction places such as Whatnot, etc. And then the aim of the game is to try and sell the things I bought for a profit. Simple enough. Those that have watched the channel before, you'll know I mainly focus on showing you what I've picked up, wholesale unbundlings, etc, etc. However, today I thought I'd switch things up and show you what's sold, show you how much profit I make and what a typical week looks like for a part-time reseller that does this on top of their full-time employment. So yeah, first off is to get to the unit to show you guys what is sold and for how much.
Just in the unit now, so packing up orders from Sunday night. It's now Tuesday night. I didn't come yesterday. Should have came yesterday. So yeah, first off the bat, a pair of these Wranglers. So these cost £3.25 and they sold for £16.19 on eBay. So most of this stuff will be on eBay, so that's minus fees, minus delivery. But I'll let you know when it's Vinted or recently Depop that I've made 3 sales in 3 days on. So these Ralph Lauren shorts, they cost £5 out of a wholesale bundle and they went for £20.24. It's summertime, it's the season. So yeah, all the orders go into a little bag and then they all get a little thank you card as well. I've been thinking about getting personalised thank you cards that have the store name and then maybe like a little QR code that have like 5% off discount. But that's maybe 10, 5's maybe a bit stingy. But that's a work in progress. And then we have these New Balance shorts. They cost me a grand total of £3 and they sold for £12.14. So not the best flip there. These replay jeans Ambas, brand new with the tags, they were £17.51 off a Whatnot stream and they sold for £48.60. This Baja hoodie, drug rug, however you want to call it. Bought 50 of these, well into the profit now. It's just the last few remaining. Average cost of goods £2.25 and it sold for £10.94. So again, not the best. Next up we've got this Jules puffer jacket Gilet. It was sold for £16.19 and cost £4.12. So I wouldn't think that puffers, even Gilets, would be selling this time of year, but they do. So if you have it, list it. Pair of Levi's, brand new with tags. These didn't do as well as I thought. They were bought for £5.39 and they sold for £20 all in. Pair of Diesels, probably the only brand of jeans that I'm willing to pay up on. Excuse me if you hear the beeping sound, that's the gate closing. Anyway, sold these for £25 on Vinted and they cost me £10. So my storage system, all in tubs, would not recommend it whatsoever. You should really have a numerical system, 1, 2, 3, every individual item skewed up until 10,000, 20,000, whatever. Because when you get a tub that's at the bottom, it's a nightmare. However, Fevers and Fines previously picked me up with Lucky, I think his name is Mark, I know his name is Mark, showed me a trick that's changed my life. So if you ever get a tub that's on the bottom, you take the top tub, like so, place it on the bottom, and then you can move all the other tubs along like this, and then you can just kick it out of the way, and then you're into the bottom tub. Literally changed my life, saves me so much time. Anyway, what was in said bottom tub, All Saints hoodie, cost of goods £3.50. It was actually on a previous video when I went down to England, and it sold for £18 on Vinted as well, so no fees. Ralph Lauren rugby top, it was also out of a bundle of Ralph Lauren rugby tops that I bought. We Depop sale, so this was £13 and it sold for £23. Another pair of jeans, pair of Edwins, £6 I picked these up for, and they sold for £30 on Vinted, so no fees. This flannel shirt is by a brand called Taylor Stitch. It sold for £15.30. Now this was bought out of a bundle from Vintage Wholesale Supply. I bought think it was 45 kilograms of flannel shirts, and it came to £50. However, I really didn't want to wash and iron them all, so I took them to the dry cleaners. So after that, it takes the average cost of goods to about £2 a shirt. So decent enough margin there, and it went on Vinted as well. Last but not least for today, a pair of Vans, brand new in the box. They sold for £15 and they were bought for £10, so not amazing. They were very close to being put to the boot sale, to be honest, so I'm glad they sold right at the last minute. Ideal. Right, I'm back. So I had a sale while I was packing my orders, like when this happens, because I can just get them out within like 10 minutes of the order and the guy thinks I'm a beast. Anyway, another Ralph Lauren rugby shirt, so £13 cost of goods. This one sold for $29.99 on eBay. After fees and postage, probably looking at about 21 to 23-ish. Have to work it out, but not bad.
So despite having the unit, I still list and sort of bag everything up at home. Not package, but bag everything up at home. So occasionally I do get the odd sale that comes through that's still in the house, just while I've got the tubs there filling it up. So this Rohan Silver Trail shirt, this was $2.99 and that sold for £18 on Vinted, so no fees. Another sale from in the house, these sold on Vinted, a pair of Dickies. These were bought for $2.99 and they sold for £12. And another in the house sale, a pair of Levi 501s, £6 into £20. Not the best flip, but it all adds up. And we have another in the house sale, Edwin shirt, Hawaiian, sort of florally shirt. It went for £25 on Vinted and it was picked up just this weekend for £6.
So we are back in the unit. It's now Thursday lunchtime. So the sales you're going to see is from like Tuesday night from the last time I was here, Wednesday, and then Thursday morning. Thursday morning, a big fat zero so far anyway. But first up the bat, Lacoste rugby shirt, $5.15 cost of goods. This one sold for £21.60. Got this Boston Red Sox jersey, cost of goods £4.80 and it sold for £22. And then we've got a Levi's smock jacket, vintage thing. It was £6 and it sold for £30. Got some Nike joggers, they sold for $12.59. They were $4.50, however, they were on average, I think they were from the boot sale, so I don't know exactly how much they were. Replay chinos, these were £8 and they sold for $33.99. Last but not least, an All Saints shirt, it sold for £11 and it cost £3, so that's not the best flip there. We have another two in the house sales. Now it's good when it's in the house because I've listed it and it's sold quite quickly. But to be honest, this wasn't the best pickup. I bought a wholesale order of band t-shirts, so I think these cost about £4 each. The Beatles one sold for a tenner and the Led Zeppelin one sold for $13.99, so not the best at all. Wrangler shirt, this one sold for £12. Cost of goods on this one is £2. This was another one from Vintage Wholesale Supply, a different bundle. It was 50 Levi Wrangler shirts for £50. But again, took them to the dry cleaner, which was like £1 each. So roughly a cost of goods at £2 each. Next up, we've got these Ralph Lauren chinos. So these sold same day and they sold to a vintage store, so I've definitely underpriced them. But these were bought for £11 and they sold for $44.99. But look at these are wild. Should have maybe stuck a lot more on them actually. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. Yeah, in hindsight I could have maybe stretched £60-70 for them. Yes guys, so we're back. It's Saturday morning, so the sales you'll see now are Friday and Saturday sales. So first off the bat, we've got this Cliff Richard t-shirt, vintage, from 1992. That's pretty cool. This was $4.54, it sold for $13, so not the highest of flips. And then we've got these spoke jeans that I picked up when I was down in Wigan, if you watched one of the previous videos. So these were £1 singular and they sold for £29.74. So we 29 times our money with one singular purchase. Pretty cool. Got this NASCAR Casey Can, don't know who that is, jersey. It was bought for £4.80 and it sold for £20. And then we've got this big vintage
trench coat by a brand called H. Moser. Never heard of it before. It's from Salzburg. It's going to France. No, sorry, it's going to Belgium. It was bought for £3.99 and it sold for £28 in the middle of summer as well. Got this Tommy Hilfiger shirt. It sold for a tenner. It cost £2 from the bundle, and then the dry cleaning cost that I discussed earlier. Pair of Lee jeans, Lee Carpenter jeans, 33 waist. These were also out of a bundle from Maya's Wholesale, just a big bundle of 100 Levi and Wrangler jeans. So cost of goods on this is £3.25 and they sold for £20.25. 2-pack shirt, cost of goods on this one was £4.60 and it sold for £8.99. So literally after fees and delivery, potentially even running a loss on that, to be fair. Wasn't the best bundle, that band t-shirts. Replay John Drill jeans, now these are the ones that are going to France, I got mixed up earlier. £7 cost of goods, £22.86 sold price. Crackhopper walking trousers, they sold for £15, and for some reason I didn't put them in my list of stock, so I've absolutely no idea what I bought them for. However, wouldn't imagine I would have paid any more than £4. Let's say £5, not to inflate things. So that's ideal. And until recently, actually funny, I always used to think it was Craighoppers. I said recently, like 6 months ago. But it's Craghoppers. The more you know. But yeah, walking season, hiking season. Not managed to get the level of walking trousers and hiking trousers that I got last year into the store this year. Which is a bit of a shame because they sell really well in these months. Hawaiian shirt, cost of goods £3.60. It sold for £9. Again, not great. A lot of this stuff at this point, I'm just trying to move on some of the stuff and accepting lower offers and stuff like that, getting better quality stock in the store. Hugo Boss jeans, these were bought for £3 and they were sold for £18.99. Just sold these ones off cheap because there was a slight defect on them, obviously described that. This is quite a good one, Acne Studios t-shirt. This was sold for £45. It was picked up for £6. It's only listed a couple of weeks as well. And then another one of these flannel shirts out of the bundle. So cost of goods roughly £2 and it sold for £10. It's by a brand called Legendary White Tails, which I've never heard of before. Yes guys, so back at the unit now. It's now Sunday. Pretty early still, to be fair. Just finished the boot sale, so it's only about 8 o'clock. So a little bit less than a week. It's probably worth of sales in this video, I think. Obviously the first lot was on the Monday, so that would have been after the boot sale on the Sunday. So sort of Sunday during the day as well, so maybe about 6.5 days worth of sales in this video. First up, Rohan shirt, £3.99 cost of goods. It sold for £11. Not amazing, but that had been sticking about for ages. These were a bundle, so the guy on Vinted bought two, so a Joe Brown's jacket and a pair of Religion joggers. Grand total of £16 cost of goods, and they sold for £28 in total. To be fair, these Religion joggers I've had for probably over a year now, to be fair. So I'm glad they've gone. I don't even think I've had a single offer on them. So yeah, he could have offered me next to nothing and I probably would have taken them. On another note, check this out. Won this on eBay for 99p on an auction, local collection. Oh my god. Kids BMX, 99p. Got a pair of pink Gant chinos. These were £3.27 and they sold for a tenner. And then these Lee jeans, these were £3.25 out of the bundle and they sold for £13.69. So again, not amazing flips, but I'm kind of in clearance mode at the moment. Anything that's been kicking about a bit too long, I'm just, if I get a offer that's half decent and I can make even £1 profit, I'll accept it. Because I'm sitting on a lot of stuff that hasn't been selling for a while. You know, every reseller does it. You pick up an item, you think it's going to sell, it doesn't sell, you're left with junk. Just get it gone, get my money back, get better items. Got this Wrangler shirt. It came out the bundle of Levi Wrangler shirts again, so £2 cost of goods. It went on Vinted for £11. This Wales Rhino rugby top thing, brand new with tags. It was £4.05. I bought a bundle of these in different sizes. It sold for £18.21. And this Eddie Bauer shirt, nothing to shout about. This went on Dbot for £8 and it was bought for £5.15. Well, it's an average cost of goods.
So yeah, not a strong one to end it on, but that's been the sales throughout the week so far. Yeah, hopefully that isn't the last sale for Sunday, because it is only 8 o'clock. But that's going to give you guys an idea of what sort of average week looks like in terms of myself sales wise for a part-time reseller. Maybe slightly higher number of packages but a lower ASP, because as I say, I'm in clearance mode just now. So ideally you want less packages at higher ASP, or more packages at higher ASP would be ideal. But yeah, as long as the sales are coming in, I'm happy. But if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing, leave me a thumbs up, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, take care, bye bye.